Hey, this is Cheryl, and I just wanted to jump on here and do a quick recording. I actually just finished a conversation with someone that's brand new, and I just thought I'd talk about it. And so there's a lot of people in this industry that get frustrated very quickly. And I think that trying to figure out where their frustration is very simple. And what happens is they have all of these objections coming at them, and we have to be the leader and the one to remind them of what they did this for. And so it doesn't matter what is going on in their life, whether it's distractions or real reasons, right, of things happening in their life. We have to bring them back to the place of why did they make this decision? What made them spend the money to get started in this business? And I think that's the most important thing that we can do as a sponsor, as a leader of our organization, is to just be that person to remind them of what they did. And you just bring them back to that place. And so if you've just gotten started and you have not filled out a reason of why you're doing this, you've got to do that today. And then we're here to help that expectation of this business fall into line after that. Because the next question is, after you know the reason you did this, is what do you want out of it? You know, what do you expect? Are you looking for financial reasons, right? A dollar? I hope so, because this is a job, this is work, and it's rewarding, and it can reward us very well. And I think that, having an expectation of earning $3,000 to $5,000 a month is attainable in your first 90 days. I'm confident. I've seen lots of people do it. And then there's also, a dollar amount of $1,000 to $3,000 in your first 90 days. And I've seen people do it. And so what happens is we want to help you set a goal so that you can create that solution of that dollar, right? You can see that money in tangible checks, holding them in your hand. And what we're here to do is to tell you what it's going to take to achieve that. And so this is something for you to take serious and spend some time on it. How much money do you want to be making a month in your first, after that 90 days, right? We're going to run for 90 days, and then we're going to have a dollar amount to show for it. Okay? So what do you want it to be? I want to ask you, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month in 90 days. Pick it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you, tell you how much time you need to be spending, treating this like a job, right? This is a part-time job for your first 90 days. And so we don't look at, the outcome in our first 90 days. We're only looking at the effort of what we're doing. And so if you want to make $1,000 a month, I'm going to encourage you to spend 2 hours a week, because you can do that. You want to do 2 appointments a week, 2 presentations a week. If you want, 3,000, let's do three appointments a week. If you want 5,000 a month, then let's do 4 appointments a week. And that's appointments. That's you making sure the person is watching a presentation, whether you're beside them, you're on the phone with them, or they're watching the Zoom. And this is something I encourage you to do, is when you've got a friend that's going to be watching from another state, you call them 5 minutes before and say, okay, let's get your computer up and running. Is it running? And they say, yeah, I'm ready. And say, okay, well, I'm going to put you on speaker and we're just going to watch together. That way, when it's over, we'll just be able to talk. And so that way, I always encourage people to do that, because as busy moms at home, or busy dads, or busy people that even don't have kids and at home living there, and they're busy, and it's easy for us to listen and to go do laundry. It's easy for us to just be tuned in as a listener but still be doing something else. And so that's why I like Zoom so well, like this, because you can sometimes see them and you can see if they're engaged, or they, is their screen off so they're folding laundry, right? So you want to make sure that appointment that I'm talking about happens where you have their full attention. Okay. And so doing 4 appointments a week can get you to $5,000 a month. Okay. I promise you it can, because if we're doing everything, you're going to see the result of it, the outcome. But it's what happens in that first 90 days where I see a lot of people fail because they're so tied to the outcome of each individual presentation that they lose focus. They lose their ability to keep their excitement and to keep recruiting, keep setting appointments. And so the number one training I think that's so important is that power line to presentation. I've got a training, that's how it's called. Power line to presentation. It teaches you what to say. It's the verbiage of what to say to get someone to a presentation. And we've got to master that. We've got to master that curiosity to keep them engaged so that they do want to come find out what you've got. And when we give hints away in our invitation and they know what we've got our hands on, they're going to compare it to what they know. We do that instead of us, in our culture today, admitting we don't know something. There's so many people that say, oh, I'll pretend to know that. And so I'm going to compare it to what I do know. And so that's unfortunate. And that's what happens. We're in that culture. Google has given us reason to be a researcher, right? And we like it. We want to know. Guys, but you're hurting yourself if you create too many hints before they see the presentation. And it's just that. We want to show them everything at once. So don't say anything before we show it to them. And so that's so important. And that's a training, power line to presentation. And so master that. And then another thing is a lot of times what happens is when I'm going to use the example of you want to get to $5,000 a month in 90 days. So you're going to be scheduling 4 appointments a week. And so I'm using that as an example. But if you're in that, I want $1,000 a month and you're in the 2 appointments a week, just, come back from that. It's okay. It still applies, because what I see is people that agree to do 4 appointments in a week, that's 4 hours, but we want to spend at least 1 or 2 hours, making those calls, writing the list, spending a little bit of time learning more about the company, learning more about the product, learning more about the comp plan. That's some things that we like to know, but I want to make sure you keep that balanced, because what I see is a lot of times people start watching a video and then they watch another video and they watch another video, and then all of a sudden 90 minutes has passed and they feel empowered and they feel good about their decision of getting started, and then they go to bed or they go to the ball game or they move on. But inside they feel like they've worked. They feel like they've accomplished something because they've increased their skill. Yes, but guys, we're not working this business unless we are talking to a new person. I want you to write that down. If I am not talking to a new person, I am not working my business. We have to position ourselves to talk to people. We have to position ourselves to share the message by engaging with others. Okay? So I want to make sure you guys understand that. And so knowing that, we have to prioritize your week. We have to prioritize your time. And so it just comes back to that, when someone's frustrated, or I feel like I've called everyone I know, it's not working for me, or, what am I doing wrong? It doesn't matter what kind of question comes at me. Doesn't matter. I'm going to bring them right back to, hey, let's come back to the day you started. Tell me why you did this. And I'm listening. Okay. And then the next question I'm going to ask is, okay, well, let's just look at the last 48 hours. Tell me what you've done in the last 48 hours to get to that, what your reason. I know you want to work part-time instead of full-time, or I know you want to be at home with your kids instead of your full-time job. So tell me what we've done in the last 48 hours that's going to get us to that reason why you did this. I hope you guys wrote that down, because it's deep. It works. Because what happens is we get frustrated, and a lot of times people get in a rut and they repeat the rut. They repeat the day before. And so when someone is actively in the dirt, working this business and moving forward and going through waters they've never gone before, you know what? They're not complaining. They know where they're going. And that's what we're here to do, is we're here to remind people of where they're going. And we're here with them. Okay. And so when they tell me a lot of excuses over the last 48 hours, which excuses are excuses, they're there, we know it. And then there's reasons. And sometimes they're real life reasons that cause them in a place where maybe they can't do anything for 48 hours. I get that. So we just have to come back to that place and be in a place to say, okay, well, let's maybe readjust your goals in 90 days. Or, hey, listen, we don't have time to stop. You're in your 90-day window right now. What are you doing? We're going to keep going. Let's start over. Start right now. Let's call. Who have you called? And then it comes into, this is like a longer training. I feel like it's 3 or 4 trainings merged into one. I don't know what my time is, but I feel like I've called everyone I know. And I say, okay, well, let's get your list out. Let's look. And I always go to Memory Jogger. It used to be Memory Jogger online, but I know Eric Worre's mastered one bigger. And so you can go to Memory Jogger in the Google bar and it'll take you to one. And I make people print that in the beginning because it just is a great way to trigger your memory. And we used to call it a who do you know list back 20 years ago. And it was the same thing. You write down your gardener, the veterinarian, your stylist, and everyone you've ever met in your whole entire life, basically, who owns a flower shop. I mean, it's just crazy random things of professionals, but it helps you to realize, oh my gosh, I know that person. I know them. And it's a good way to jog your memory. And so this one is great. And I make them write that down. I have them fill it out and say, okay, well, how many names are on your memory jogger? That's one of the first questions I ask is how many names are on your memory jogger? And then, well, I don't know, I'll have to look. And then, we kind of work through that. And I don't accuse them. I don't say anything other than I just am here to bring attention to how many names are on their memory jogger, right? And then I say, okay, well, let's look at your phone. Let's look at your cell phone. And let's look at your recent calls. And let's just go back because an iPhone actually has 50 recent calls. That's how many it can keep track of. So let's just scroll through those recent calls and tell me if you see anyone in that recent call list that doesn't know that you're doing this. Who in that recent calls has not seen a presentation? Right there. Let's see those names. They don't like that one either. But it's a sweet way to remind them that they know they haven't talked to everyone. They still have people to talk to. And I don't have to point that out because they figure that out on themselves, you guys. And that's one of the things. We don't want to be the pointer to say, see, I told you so. No, we're just here to just this. I did this to someone today. We're here to do this. We're here to put a mirror back in front of them to remind them of what they already know, to just highlight what they can see for themselves. That's what our job is. We don't want to bully someone. We don't want to pressure them. We just want to remind them of what they're doing this for. And then the last one is with recent calls is, oh, everyone knows what I'm doing. Because I talked to someone a week ago and she's been involved for 7 years. And she's like, everyone in my recent calls knows what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, great. That's fine. Well, let's go to your contacts. Open up your contacts. Hey, will you scroll down to Z for me? Just push that Z. And it takes you all the way to the bottom. And underneath that Z, it actually tells you how many contacts you have. And it's a big number. And so I say, okay, well, we may go line by line through your contacts and let's see who hasn't seen a presentation. And then after that, what I want to do is count your Facebook friends. I want you to tell me how many Facebook friends you have. And guys, I'm going to tell you, I haven't talked to people. Everyone I know, I've already talked to everyone I know. I don't hear that when I ask those questions. And so when you hear someone's frustrations or you hear someone complaining, guys, it's our job just to be that mirror and just remind them in a professional way that that's not true. And I know it. And I'm going to call your bluff. So, I hope you hear my heart on that. But guys, that's a huge lesson right there. That's a great way to just, kindly remind people and be that person to empower them. We want to empower them and encourage them and motivate them. We don't want them to feel like anything other than that. So I hope this has helped you a little bit. And again, if we're not in front of new people, we are not working. We are not growing our business until we're in front of a new person. And somebody on here may be watching and saying, well, I have a team. I've got a team and I just help my team. Well, I want to tell you, you want to still stay the leader of the pack and you've got to be the example and you've got to be the one putting new people in that binary and they see a new person get started at the bottom and that everybody knows that fire burns up and gets everyone excited. And if they know that you are, yes, the leader, the mentor, the coach of the team, but they're seeing you lead by example and you're still out there enrolling and recruiting, that's what you want to do. You want to be that person. That's the leader you want to be. Okay. So I want to encourage you with that. And I hope this training helps. So definitely give me some feedback. Tell me if it helped you at all. Okay. God bless y'all. Bye-bye.